All right, that was an awesome premiere. I loved eating the ice cream at the end of that video. So make sure you check out the premiere. If you're already joining the live, that's fine, but definitely at some point you'll want to check out the premiere. Look at the live chat over here, and there should be a link to it. I'll put it up for the Facebook as well, but it was nature journaling in Monteverde, the cloud forest. And right now I'm going to do a Q&A. So I've got some questions, I've got some comments that people posted on the Nature Journal Club Facebook page. I'm going to mention some of those, and I'm going to talk about some of the best locations for nature journaling in Costa Rica and why Costa Rica is actually a really good place for nature journaling. So if you have any questions about what nature journaling is like here, even if you're not planning on coming at some point in the future, go ahead and put any questions you have, anything you're interested in or curious about that has to do with nature journaling in Costa Rica. Just post it in the comments because that will contribute to the conversation and help other people who might be watching this as a recorded version. So I see that Tamara is here, Cindy's here, Kate is here. It looks like James was here before and he'll probably be back. Sometimes it's a little bit confusing when I do one of these live episodes right after premiere. Some people aren't sure of where to go first, so sorry about that. And I know the video quality is a little bit weird, but it's because I have very low light conditions and I'm actually using candles to light up my recording studio right now. It's also really hot and I turned off the fan because it was loud and I'm being chewed by mosquitoes. So there are some downsides to nature journaling in Costa Rica, but I'll start with the positive ones first, especially since I want to lead a group of people nature journaling here approximately exactly 1 year from today. So 1 year from today, I'm hoping to lead a nature journaling trip down here. Let me open up my notes because I do have quite a bit of information that I'm going to share about some of the amazing locations down here. But first of all, let's talk about why nature journaling in Costa Rica is a good thing. So right here, you can see a general map of Costa Rica. It's a small Central American country. And one of the main reasons why it's a great place for nature journaling, in my opinion, is because of the winter weather. So right now it's getting cold and I know it's nice in the San Francisco Bay Area, but a lot of places in North America and Europe right now aren't the super conducive nicey weather for nature journaling outside. I yesterday was talking to a group of sixth graders. I think they were in Minnesota. So 3 classrooms full of sixth graders that apparently have been watching the Nature Journal show for quite some years. Some of them are big fans. Their teachers have been using the Nature Journal show also for curriculum, and they reached out to me to do a Zoom. And one of the questions they asked is, how do I nature journal in the winter? And outside behind me, there were howler monkeys and stuff like that. So I had to point out to the kids that winter is relative. And in this little country right here in Central America, you don't have to worry about snow and you don't have to worry about a lot of the things that prevent people from nature journaling in the further northern hemisphere. So that is one that makes a big difference. So for people who just want to get away from the snow a little bit and nature journal in the summer or see some cool birds for a lot of birders, or for people who like the beach, for people whose joints and body don't feel quite as good in the winter as they do in the summer, Costa Rica is a really great winter destination. So that's one of it. The number 2 reason nature journal in Costa Rica is the people. People are super nice, considered by some studies as the happiest people in the world. A lot of places in Costa Rica also have some of the best longevity of anywhere in the world. In fact, where I am right now, where my dad lives, is one of the 8 blue zones. It's one of the 8 places in the world where people live the oldest. So the people, it's great for that. Even if you don't speak Spanish, it's really great. The natural beauty. So some of you might have seen the landscapito I did the other day in Monteverde. I think I posted it online. Some of you might, this video is coming out soon, but nature journaling Arenal volcano. And here you can see this was an amazing sunset. So the natural beauty is almost unrivaled of anywhere in the world. So that is definitely a huge benefit that makes Costa Rica a great place for nature journaling. Biodiversity. The biodiversity is extreme, even for such a small country. And so this leads me into the next thing is the responsibility. Ooh, I'm going to have to check in here. I see Suzanne is tuning in from Ashland, Oregon. Hi, Suzanne. Thanks for joining. Cindy is here. Hi, Cindy. And I think I said hi to everyone else already. If you're watching and don't know about the live chat, whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube, you should be able to comment over here or over here and ask any questions that you have about nature journaling in Costa Rica, or if you have some experience. I'll mention a couple people on the Nature Journal Facebook club that shared some of their personal experiences, which was really cool. So after the natural beauty is the biodiversity, like I mentioned, and this is what brings up a really important point to me is responsibility. So I think, ooh, yay, someone from Facebook is commenting here. Oh, yay, it's Fiona. Great. Thanks for joining in, Fiona. I'm actually going to be mentioning your location when I start going into the location. So Fiona here, okay, I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but hang on for a bit, Fiona, and I will get to mentioning your location near Golfito, I believe it is, right? So anyways, the responsibility part I think is really important. And I think that nature journaling can be a level up from current ecotourism manifestations, because right now, there's ecotourism has the word eco or eco at the beginning, the prefix, but it doesn't always end up being, it sometimes ends up being a little bit greenwashed and a little bit superficial. However, I think that some of the tools and some of the practices in nature journaling can really go beyond this and even go beyond avid tourism. So the bird tourism that so many people have, trumpeted as this sort of great way to have a more ecologically conscious tourism. So I think nature journaling can go well beyond that. And if you are traveling in a mega biodiverse country, in my opinion, and you're a nature journaler, I think you have a responsibility to nature journal the biodiversity and use nature journaling as a tool to capture that. Here's some of the page that you just saw from the video in Monteverde. So this is some work that I did there. Even in the relatively humid conditions, I was able to do this. And here is the location that I went to. One person on the Nature Journal Club Facebook page actually recommended this. So other people have been to this reserve, and Monteverde is a very well-known location. And I'm going to get into the locations right now. But just to say, I do think that nature journaling in these mega biodiverse countries, there's a responsibility that comes with it. So if you're traveling, if you're using jet fuel to go to faraway places, if you don't live in one of these countries, I think that you have a responsibility to do something to help the situation, to help conservation, maybe to help create a record of some of these species, some of which may be endangered. So there is a responsibility with that. And I think that nature journaling is a great way to get the best of both worlds. Okay, so I'm going to dive into some of these locations because there's quite a few. I'm going to start off with some central Costa Rica. So around San Jose, which is the capital, there's actually amazing nature as well. And I even did some urban sketching there. There is an urban sketching group that I'm hoping to connect with in San Jose. You can see here, I even put the elevation. It is pretty high there in San Jose. And some of the stuff that grows in San Jose grows in California as well. So you might see some familiar plants, and you can still see a lot of birds. Even in this super urban area, I saw a lot of really cool birds, and I did do eBird and kept an eBird checklist while I was there. And I think I even saw some life birds while I was there in San Jose. I would love for a nature journal club to start in Costa Rica, and I think San Jose or somewhere in central Costa Rica would make the most sense. Even really close to San Jose, there are some smaller towns. Even, for example, let's see, the next place I went to was in the south, but I'll jump to La Fortuna. So La Fortuna is not that far. I'm going to consider it central Costa Rica in this description, but La Fortuna is right next to the Arenal volcano. So volcanoes is one of the reasons people like to go to Costa Rica. This one had one of the longest eruption periods of any volcanoes in the world, basically from 1968 until 2010. It was like clockwork. I guess we went here when I was a kid, but I don't really remember the volcano very well. What I remember is the hot springs we went to where my sister lost her doll in one of the water slides and then cried for the rest of the day. but apparently this was erupting consistently from 1968 until 2010. I'm not going to talk too much more about that volcano because I nature journaled it and I filmed an episode about it, and that episode is going to come out a week from today, next Wednesday, so don't miss that. But near La Fortuna, you can see this volcano, you can see hot springs, you can see tons of animals. I saw poison dart frogs, I saw coral snakes, I saw Jesus Christ lizards, I saw a whole bunch of stuff. It's convenient. There's sloths, there's landscapes, there's birds, there's streams, there's waterfalls, there's swings, there's all kinds of stuff, and it's all really close to San Jose. I did a whole video describing La Fortuna sort of from a tourism point of view, so you can check that one out. There's also a place, an infamous place. If you're one of my Patreon patrons, you maybe have seen the video where I actually fall, break my kneecap, and pass out on the edge of a creek, and my GoPro is filming the whole time. That video hasn't been released to the greater public because it's a little bit embarrassing, but luckily I was there with Esteban Lobo, and he made sure that I was okay. I wasn't unconscious for that long, and I didn't know that my patella was broken until quite a bit later. But that was at a place called Cerro Danta, which is an amazing cloud forest location with waterfalls, streams, epiphytes, and when you're hiking, you're like constantly in this deep of mud. Really intense and amazing location, and also really close to San Jose. So there's a ton of places I don't even know about in central Costa Rica that are close to San Jose and that are amazing. Next, I'm going to talk about some of the spots heading towards the Caribbean, just on the other side of the continental divide, because there's some serious mountains going through the middle of Costa Rica. So right here on this map, you can see Costa Rica has Caribbean on this side, Pacific on this side, and there's basically a mountain range. It's hard to do this on the camera. There's a mountain range going through the whole middle. And if you start going towards the Caribbean side, there's a location called La Selva Biological Station, and that's where I lost my passport and all my money this year. So some more misadventures. And that is probably one of the all-time best places I've ever nature journaled. So here are some pages from a night hike that I did there. And part of the best thing there is the people. So you can see here that I did nature journal some people, and these are crazy cyborg photographers. These were very serious photographers and nature nerds. There were people from the BBC filming there. Actually, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say that. There was all kinds of really cool people there. Lots of amazing wildlife, including this toucan eating a hummingbird. That's right, toucans don't eat Fruit Loops. They are vicious nest raiders. And if you were this tall, they would eat you also. There was great green macaws, which I didn't even know was a thing, flying all over the place. And there were poison dart frogs. And just like I said, the environment was the environment of people was a big part of it for me. So here you can see the poison dart frogs. This was my first chance ever nature journaling poison dart frogs in the wild. Also a really amazing pit viper right on the side of the trail. And these are those cute white bats you've probably seen in photos that make a tint in these leaves. So one of the best places for nature journaling that I've ever been, and I think these science field stations are going to be a really great place for spreading nature journaling and letting nature journaling be seen. Even if you're not an instructor, just by nature journaling in a location like that, people are going to come up to you and be like, what are you doing? And then you can affect, there's biologists in training. This place, La Selva, has been one of the locations where many famous biologists and researchers have started their careers. So not only is there amazing wildlife, amazing primary forest, but it's also just a really great location to meet people. And it's only 2 hours from San Jose. Here you can see a map that I used. I really wish I had explored more of this primary forest. I made marks here on all the places I went and just some notes about some of the things that I saw here. Really great location, one of my all-time favorites, even though I was sort of stressed for a lot of the time because of losing my passport. And update on that is my new passport has been made, and I just need to go pick it up. Whoa, what's that? Hold on a second. What the? Oh my goodness. What? Well, I might have to start nature journaling this here right now instead of describing all the reasons why Costa Rica is a great place. So, if you're not really a bug person, let me just try to convince you really quickly. Bugs are really accessible. And even if all you want to do is get better at drawing, something like this is the perfect practice. It's almost like those Renaissance artists who practice drawing their hands over and over again. You basically just have a skinny, weird hand, and you can practice drawing stick figures in perspective. And for those of you who think all you can draw is stick figures, then you can definitely draw. If you can draw stick figures, then you can draw a stick bug. Good thing I have all this facial hair right now because it makes it way easier for this bug to crawl on me. If you've seen my Instagram, then you already have seen this bug before. Okay, where was I? All right, next location. So La Selva is really good for birds. It's really good for mammals. It's really good for reptiles. It's really good for meeting people, spreading nature journaling. And it's also good because there's primary forest there. So because it's been a preserve for so long, they have actual primary forest, which is sort of a contentious term. You might just call it mature forest. Oh, I think it's stuck on my ear there. Okay, let me put you far away from the candles. Okay, let's go over here. Let go. Let go. Okay, come on. All right, it doesn't want to go away, so I'm just going to continue with the video. Okay, so that is all just Central Costa Rica. So hang in there, folks. Just getting started, and that's all just Central Costa Rica. Oh no, this is the eastern slopes. Okay, so let's talk about the Caribbean coast for a second. So as I pointed out on that hand-drawn map a second ago, there is a whole Caribbean coast. And the cool thing about Costa Rica being one of the narrowest countries in Central America is it doesn't take very long to get from one side to the other. So last year, I spent some time on the Caribbean coast after I broke my kneecap, and it was amazing. One of the things that you can see over here is sea turtles. There's a variety of sea turtles, marine turtles that nest on this side of Costa Rica, and including leatherback turtles. So if you come during the right time of year, you could see that and nature journal that, and you could also volunteer. There's a ton of places where you can volunteer. So the place where I went to is called Pacuare, Reserva Pacuare, and there's sea turtles. There was tons of monkeys. I think I saw 3 species of monkeys I nature journaled all at once. It was extremely humid. There was a lot of mosquitoes in a lot of the locations on the East Coast, so be aware of that. And then another thing is there's all of these canals and estuaries where you can take boat rides. And one of the things that I found during that time was that nature journaling from a boat is amazing. So not only can you fit a lot of people, but those people can be sitting down, and you can a lot of times get close to animals from a boat that you wouldn't be able to get to from land. And you can access things that you otherwise would have to be hacking through jungle to get through. So that is just something that is amazing. One of the places that is really good is Tortuguero, which is on the north part of the Caribbean side. And there's all kinds of animals there that are amazing. There's a woman in Cahuita who put out an invitation, I think it was on the Nature Journal Club Facebook page, for potentially hosting nature journalers there. Okay, so that's the East Coast. Now let's talk about this little peninsula and some of these areas down here on the South Pacific. So I should mention right now, since hopefully Fiona is still here, Fiona Reed mentioned a location called Sylvan Lodge, and I think she runs it. And she's going to be doing an upcoming class with Deborah Kaspari and Catherine Hamilton. I can't remember if Catherine Hamilton was co-teaching or what, but Deborah Kaspari and Catherine Hamilton were both instructors at the Wild Wonder Nature Journaling Conference we had just a couple of months ago. And Deborah has tons of experience sketching in Panama, in Peru, and she's actually one of my favorite artists for drawing tropical stuff. Really great birds, really great vines, and I did a whole copycat page or two back in October of her work. So really nice. And she's going to be at this location, Sylvan Lodge. So if Fiona is still here and wants to put anything into the comments about your location, that would be really awesome. And she's down here somewhere. That location is down here somewhere before the Osa Peninsula. So then the Osa Peninsula is probably one of the most remote places in Costa Rica. And I went there last year. There's a ton of scarlet macaws. So if you like, oh, here we go. So if anyone is interested, maybe you could post a link or something. I believe this is that must be Fiona commenting there. So if anyone's interested in that class, I think that's coming up in February. And so onwards, so there is this whole place called the Osa Peninsula down here. It's amazing, macaws, it's super remote. There's a huge mangrove. There's this park called Corcovado National Park, jaguars, pumas, tapirs. I saw tapirs there, lots of monkeys. I did a bunch of nature journal videos there. I'll post a link to my playlist of Costa Rica videos, and you can see some of those when I was nature journaling in the Osa Peninsula, down here, this teeny little peninsula. And then also in the south is Las Cruces. So here you can see these palm trees right here is the Wilson Botanical Garden and Las Cruces Science Field Station are both down there in the very southern part near the border with Panama. And I have a video about my time there that's coming out really soon. It was super exciting. I found some amazing snakes. I did a bunch of nature journaling, a bunch of hiking in some intense conditions. And someone on the Nature Journal Club Facebook page originally told me about Wilson Botanical Garden. So if you're watching, please say something in the comments and let me know. I really appreciated that and checked it out for the first time this year. Let me see if I have some pages from there. It was really wet while I was there, so it was kind of hard to nature journal, but I saw a ton of birds. Oh, here are some of my pages. A ton of birds. There was a lot of arasaris that you can see there, a type of toucan, some honey creepers, moths. There was lots of tanagers. There was agoutis everywhere, lots of euphonias, crested guans, honey creepers. This is the Costa Rican national bird, the gray colored thrush. So another amazing location, definitely a lot harder to get to, farther away. Oh, here you go. If anyone's interested in knowing more about that location that Fiona does, and you know, Fiona, I think if you focus on nature journalers as sort of like a target niche, that would be a really cool idea. Okay, so that's enough for the south. It's very wet. And let's talk about the North Pacific now, where I am right now. Let me get back to my map here. I did draw multiple maps. I'm trying to get better at using more maps in here. I'm not getting sponsored by Sylvan Lodge, by the way, just so you know. Okay. So here is this big, huge peninsula up here. Is really cool. It's seasonally dry tropical forest. So there's actually a lot of dry season deciduous trees. Oh, I know James is really interested in trees. I don't know about logwood. What is that? What's the species name on that, James? There's a lot of deciduous trees here, and there is a dry season of about 6 months and the rainy season of about 6 months. And that's where I am now. And so the North Pacific is really good for seeing the seasonally dry tropical forest, which is actually the most endangered type of tropical rainforest. A lot of people don't realize that. There's also sea turtles here. You can see the leatherbacks, and you can see olive ridleys, and I think you can see green turtles all laying eggs and hatching if you come at the right time of year. I still have yet to nature journal that. I saw it when I was a kid, but that's one of the things I really want to do is nature journal the turtles either hatching or laying the eggs. There's amazing beaches, very scenic beaches for landscapitos. Check out some of my those Costa Rica videos to see more. Then there's also the culture is fascinating over here. There's some more of the Mesoamerican. It's basically further south of Mesoamerica, so you get a lot of corn and sort of the further south of the Mayan influence with corn agriculture, lots of amazing corn dishes. And there's also a cowboy culture here with some really interesting aspects of that as well. Some of the main towns are Tamarindo. I'm near Santa Cruz and Junquial. There's also some further south on the peninsula, like Montezuma. Some of them are really touristy, so just be aware of that. But for more of the sort of beach scene, and then Palo Verde is also here. So I think Palo Verde is actually more up in this, the little crook here that you can see. I think that's where the Tempisque River comes out, and Palo Verde is the third of the three Organization for Tropical Studies field stations. So these are biological field stations. Someone mentioned them. Thanks for mentioning them. Someone on the Facebook Nature Journal Club group. And my vision is if we could get just hundreds of nature journalers to infiltrate these science field stations, and you don't even have to like be teaching, but just go there and nature journal. They invite natural history tourists and birders and stuff like that to go to these places. You get pretty good lodging. You get 3 meals a day. You get guided tours if you want them, and you can also just walk around looking at the birds and the nature. And if we just had hundreds of nature journalers going to these locations and nature journaling, just think of the impact we could have on all of those biology students that are just getting started in their careers, and all of the other nature tourists that are at those places. So Palo Verde is the third, and I haven't visited it yet because it was closed. But that's pretty much it for locations. Let me know if anybody has any questions. I see James. I am going to have to look this one up. I don't know Hematoxylum campechianum. So it sounds like the species name is a reference to Campeche, which would be a place in Yucatan Peninsula, I believe. So there is a lot of overlap in some of the plants and animals that live in the two places. So I will keep my eyes out for that one, but it doesn't ring a bell. Let me know if you know what family it is too. And thanks for Fiona for sharing that resource about her location. If anybody is interested in that, maybe you can make us a special offer for nature journalers or something cool like that. That course is coming up in February, just so people know. And Christine Elder is here. Definitely check out Christine Elder's work. She's done a lot of nature journaling in Costa Rica, Ecuador, all kinds of places. So Christina is a very well traveled nature journaler. This is a good observation by Eli. When you notice things that are surprising to you, it is good to write those things down in your nature journal. It sounds like Cindy saw one. Where were you, Cindy, when you saw it? And James, yes, there are lots of big spiders here. There were tarantulas in Monteverde. Let me show you some of what I nature journaled. This was yesterday. There were howler monkeys in the tree right here, and howler monkey faces are a growth edge for me. So you can see I just practiced doing a bunch of them. And then I was nature journaling galls yesterday. And I have some stuff. So one thing that you can do in rainy tropical weather that I recommend is you can pick things and bring them inside. Obviously, it helps if you know what the plant is and make sure it's not something that's going to cause like a rash. That is possible. But picking things and bringing them inside so that you have some materials. Also, the night's really long in the tropics. Or it's not that it's really long compared to winter, but you get less variation. So there's not like these long summer days where you can just have daylight forever. So having a plan for what to do at night is really useful. So those are a couple of tips, and I hope I shared a bunch of interesting stuff about nature journaling in Costa Rica. Definitely check out this this playlist here. I'll post it so that it shows up. Hopefully, I don't think it's going to show up on the Facebook Nature Journal Club because of the way this works, but I do have a whole playlist of videos about nature journaling in Costa Rica. And if you just search on YouTube for nature journaling in Costa Rica, a bunch of them will show up, of the ones that I created last year and this year, and you can get some more ideas. And if you are interested, maybe send me an email or send me a message some way. I'm going to start advertising formally in about a month or two, but I'm going to be leading a nature journaling trip in Costa Rica it's probably going to be the first week of December 2023. So if you want to go, nature journal volcanoes, nature journal scarlet macaws, nature journal at least 3 species of toucans, nature journal and chill in hot springs or warm up in hot springs, nature journal poison dart frogs, nature journal sloths, with a group of other people and get nature journaling tips from me the whole time. During a week in between the 2 stressful holidays of North America, then let me know. And we're going to be doing it probably about the first week. It should be the first week of December. All right, everybody, thanks for joining in. And remember, every single Wednesday night, there is a Nature Journal Show episode at 6 p.m. California time. Next week, I'm going to be nature journaling the Arenal volcano. All right, bye.